Hello everybody, this is John. This is the NCGA FMC Ag Weather Outlook for October 2nd, 2015. I know we're right here in the middle of harvest season, so both temperature and especially precipitation is very important. I've been covering that quite extensively. But before I get on with today's briefing, let's review September. I'm going to be putting out some numbers probably later today on September. But here is the total amount of precipitation. I got an email from a grower in that core band right here of really heavy rain, and he said he had nearly 5 inches of rain. So if you're in this area right in here, especially these little bands of purple, you're probably dealing with excess precipitation and really need some dry weather. Also a few spots in Illinois as well as southern Wisconsin's. But everywhere else, North and South Dakota, most of Minnesota, most of the eastern Corn Belt, most of Missouri, experienced below normal precipitation, very light precipitation. So when we look at the departure for September, areas in yellow and red are below normal, and areas in green are above normal. So there were some areas above normal, but the majority of the region was below normal for the month. Now, if we look at temperatures averaged out warm. If we, the entire Corn Belt experienced temperatures at least 1 to 3 degrees above normal, and that darker shade of brown is much more so, 7 to 10 degrees. So it was a warmer than normal month across the entire area. Okay, so now let's focus in on the more current time frame. This is over the last 7 days, and it looks like that dry spell has continued. Lots of browns, a bit of yellow there. That's indicating that for the most part we only had a day or so out of the last 7 where there was some measurable precipitation. Not so off to our east. Take a look at the Carolinas and Virginia. Extremely wet, almost every day precipitation. And that's because that cold front that brought us the cool and dry weather is lingering along the east coast, bringing a lot of rainfall. So here's how much rain fell over the last week. Unfortunately, in the area that did not need any additional rain, there was some additional rain right in this little localized area right in here. It's very localized. Also a band of some modest rainfall in this region, but everywhere else very quiet. Kentucky, some more modest rain. Then we get into the eastern part of the U.S. It really picks up very quickly. So maybe the far southern, eastern, and southeast tier of the Corn Belt. But basically, it was a very quiet week, and you can see we lost about an inch of rain from normal. This is the departure from normal over most areas, and a little bit more than normal over parts of that very narrow part of Iowa. Now, we did cool down, but the average temperature still averaged above normal last week. So it's one of these averages that started out well above normal, ended up below normal. We're averaging a little bit above normal as far as temperatures go. Now, soil moisture, this is important if you want to get out in the fields. Most areas, Dakotas, Missouri, into the eastern Corn Belt, field conditions look like they should be pretty good. Soils are either normal or below normal as far as dryness. The exception is that area in dark green, and if you look closely, blue. Those are the areas where we've had excess soil moisture over the last 30 days, right along the Missouri River, along the Nebraska-Iowa border, extending into parts of Iowa. Now, it's very localized, but in those areas, soils are quite wet. Now, let's take a look ahead. This week, we've had somewhat of a complicated jet stream. A couple dips in the jet stream is indicated in blue, and that brought the cooler weather into our area. So if we look ahead, this is what we're going to be seeing, sort of two dips, one off to the west, one off to the east, and over our region, more of a push further to the north of the jet stream. And that's going to mean that temperatures are going to be gradually moderating and actually warming next week. We're going to be between the cooler weather off to the east, cooler weather off to the west. Most of the Midwest is going to be experiencing warmer temperatures. Now here's the first 5 days, and we're going to be averaging cool. This will be sort of the reverse of what we had last week. We're going to average the week cool because we're going to start off unusually cool, but then we're going to end up the week with warmer than normal temperatures. Now, once we get past the next 3 or 4 days, right now models are showing a fairly prolonged period of near or above normal temperatures. and that's because the jet stream's fairly quiet and a bit further to the north. Now here's October 7th through 12th. We look at temperatures near to a little bit above normal. And then if we look at the period of October 12th through 17th, I don't have that labeled right, October 12th through 17th, again, what we see is above normal temperatures. So the models on the temperature side have been a little bit flaky, but right now they are saying that after this cool snap moves out early next week and we start to moderate, models are indicating that we could be in for a period of milder weather for this time of the year, right through the middle of the month of October. Now, precipitation is going to be very important. Let's take a look at it. This is the next week. I tell you, I'm glad I'm not in parts of the southeast U.S., particularly South Carolina. Extremely heavy rain with an onshore flow, moisture pushing in. But over the Midwest, a very quiet week. So it looks like another good week in getting out in the fields in most areas. Could be some precipitation here and there, but it looks like it's going to be very, very light. Most areas, hardly any rain at all, especially the eastern and northern parts of the Corn Belt. But overall, everywhere, no rain of significance that's going to cause that much of a problem. So it looks like a very good week in field activity, I think both from a temperature perspective, warming up later next week, and definitely with below normal precipitation. So if we look at the rainfall anomalies, this is week 1, and you can see lots of yellow below normal. As we get into week 2, days 8 through 14, again, it looks like we're in this quiet pattern. And a little side note here, this is something, it's very good for us now, but it's something that's going to build for next year, and you'll hear me talking over and over as we get through the winter months as far as soil moisture recharge. I don't think that's an issue right now, but more importantly, to keep the dry soils for the harvest operation. So there's week 2. Week 3, I think it's sort of low confidence on week 3 and then week 4. So basically, I see for weeks 1 and 2 fairly widespread below normal precipitation, very good conditions to get out in the fields and continue harvest operations. Week 3 and 4, I don't see anything all that remarkable one way or the other. I don't see any signs of a real widespread soaking rain. And temperatures, again, it looks like this cool snap we had should be moderating next week, and then warmer temperatures setting in that could be lasting for a while. Appreciate hearing any comments from you. I do hear from time to time, and I try to answer any questions you might have. There's my email. You can always email me. Good luck and best wishes in the field this week. I'm hoping I'm bringing you some good weather, most areas at least. Have a great week, and talk to you again real soon.